Rolling.
Takot na kong sumubok, pagod na kong lumakad sa bubog. Ang pag-ibig ay para lang sa matatapang at tanga. Hinarap ko na ang langit, isinuko bawat luha at galing. Ngunit ba't kung kailan di ka na naniniwala, biglang ayan, dito ka lang sa aking tabi. Baka sakali o baka naman dito ka lang pumalagi. Baka sakaling mapasa akin ka. Hindi na ako natuto, hindi na rin marunong magtago. Sa tuwing ika'y kapiling ko, ang aking puso buong buo. Dito ka lang sa aking tabi. Baka sakali, baka naman dito ka lang pumalagi. Baka sakaling mapasa akin ka. Ano ba ang dapat mong gawin? Ano ba ang dapat mong gawin? Kung ang pangarap ay binigay ng mga bituin. Dito ka lang sa aking tabi. Baka sakali o baka naman dito ka lang pumalagi. Baka sakaling mapasa akin ka. Dito ka lang sa aking tabi. Baka sakali o baka naman dito ka lang pumalagi. Baka sakaling mapasa akin ka. Dito ka lang sa aking tabi. Baka sakaling, baka naman dito ka lang pumalagi. Baka sakaling mapasa akin ka.
Are you facing difficulty because of our new situation? Has the digital world become overwhelming? We recognize that there's been a large shift in all areas of our lives and that we are transitioning to what we call the new normal. But how are you adapting to this new normal? We can help. We at Vidana Celebrity Marketing can help you and your brand migrate to the new normal. We want to be a part of your solution, and we do this through our upgraded influencer marketing strategies. Why us? We are present, relevant, and value-adding. By using social media and our unique storytelling to create content that will surely be a match for your brand, we not only help you migrate to the new normal, but together we shall elevate. We have a roster of influencers who are well-engaged, passionate, and have built a loyal community in their social media platforms. With our innovative, engaging campaigns and our passionate influencers, we can find the best match for you. Your brand, our upgraded influencer marketing strategies. Together, let's keep our businesses thriving. Contact us at eavidanas.bcm@gmail.com. Let's work together. Come with me as you go to the Colgate Technology Center and, of course, find out how Colgate Total got its hashtag Total Upgrade.
We will add the hydrogen sulfide into the two tubes.
Oh my god.
Now you see the magic. Add the indicator that will turn black when exposed to hydrogen sulfide. The ordinary fluoride toothpaste immediately turns black because it cannot neutralize the bad odor. The solution with the new Colgate Total did not turn black, meaning that it's also totally fresh. The new Colgate Total toothpaste helps prevent bad breath.
Upgrade to whole mouth health with Colgate Total. What's up, you guys, and welcome to Adulting with Joy Spring, the how-tos of your 20s told by a 20-something-year-old traversing through adult life expectantly and with gusto. Don't forget to check out joyspring.com for the show notes and use the hashtag Adulting with Joy Spring for all your comments, suggestions, and hopefully non-violent reactions. What's up? And welcome to another episode of Shot of Sanity here on Adulting with Joy Springs SOS Live. What's up, you guys? It's Joyce over here.
And Aaron over here. Thank you guys for joining us on yet another Friday Night Live. How have you been, Parts?
I have been busy and
as per usual.
Yes, as per usual. And it's been a really packed week. So I'm happy to be here again with our SOS family. I just want to say hi to everybody who are tuned in right now, to our SOS fam, to Adulting with Joy Spring fam. And of course, how are you, Parts?
I'm doing great. One of the this is gonna sound so dorky and it fits so perfectly. One of my favorite games came out, the second installment of it. If anyone here plays The Last of Us, please shout out, because it's one of the best video games to ever come out that I was able to play. And that's all I did today. I literally woke up, I downloaded it, and I took a shower. I forgot to eat.
The Last of Us?
Yes, it's about a zombie apocalypse. So
Ooh.
I loved it. I am so happy with it.
It feels like it hits too close to home right now.
Yeah. And it's so cool that, my day was filled with just sitting on the couch playing video games, and yours was busy.
Mm-hmm. Well, we need both kinds of days, right? We need the productive days, and then we also need the laying down, playing video games, and resting kind of days. And I feel like the topic at hand tonight is actually perfect for that. It's for a lot of people who are working from home, figuring out their careers and their businesses. So if you are that, please don't forget to tune in, send in your questions in the comment section. While you're doing that, let's say hello to some people who are already tuned in, Parts.
Saying hi to Arvin. He says yes to The Last of Us 2. Yes. To my fellow Ellie fans out there, thank you very much. He says that he's obsessed with the show. Hello to Camille, who's our YouTube family that's watching over there. Thank you guys so much. Hello to Nico, as well as to Emily and to Ange. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Who are you seeing over there, Parts?
We've got Mary Joy watching from Facebook. Ryan Aguinaldo also from Facebook. On YouTube, Memories Collection, says Dolor. Also Camille de Padua. On time daw siya today. So she's really happy about that.
Nice.
Santos, who says, Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you guys. Wherever you guys are watching from, can you just send your name and where you guys are watching from right now? Because the last time we did this, we had people who stayed up late and who were watching, I guess, from UAE. And then we had people from Canada, some from Japan. Now, Christine Joy Dakoikoy from the UK, all the way from the UK.
Wow. Hello to DK, who says, SOS while working, hashtag COVID nurse represent. Hi, Aaron and Joyce. Hey, what's up, COVID nurses? Thank you so much for being on the front line. We thank you so much for each and every minute that you guys are out there taking care of everyone that needs you and your incredible hands right now.
Tama. Sabi nga ni John Resio, kaway-kaway para sa mga bayaning puyat. That is so
Yes.
true to all of our frontliners. We also got Arvin, who is watching from Bicol, Dear Paul 24, watching from Dasmariñas City, LJ, of course, the fam that are always tuned in. Maraming salamat. Nerissa, watching from Taiwan, Parts.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, this would not be possible without you guys. We are so happy whenever you guys are here, as well as those that have been able to send the check. Thank you so much to our sponsors on the show. Wow, this is amazing. This is so incredible. Why don't we start on your side, Parts?
Yeah, so we'd like to thank VCM, the Celebrity Source, or My Management. They have actually moved totally digital. So if you guys are in any need of talents, or if you want to be a part of a management also, you can check out VCM, the Celebrity Source, their website, and of course their Instagram account. Thank you to Colgate, who is my family. They brought me to a different country to really see their factory there and how Colgate Total was made. And that was a video that you saw earlier. And of course, on your side, Parts.
Thank you so much to Uniqlo for dressing me for the past 2 episodes. Thank you so much for sending the clothes. Uniqlo has recently revealed its latest smartwear collection that features superior comfort, functionality, and versatile designs that can tailor fit to various everyday needs, whether for work, from home, or office, which we're going to be talking about a lot today, or for attending your daily activities. The collection makes it effortless for people to go from one task to the other while looking smart and stylish. One of the items featured in this collection is Uniqlo's Easy Ankle Pants. It's stretchy fabric because I need my stretchy fabric. And wool-like material allow easy movement that is perfect for the errand or for work. So thank you to everyone that is helping us spread the love that is SOS, which is our shot of sanity, trying to get as many people involved in the show. And we could not do it without our sponsors and, of course, you guys that are part of the discussion here on SOS.
That's right. Thank you for joining us here tonight. You know, I'm really excited about our topic this evening, not only because we have an amazing guest that's going to be joining us in just a short while, but also because I know that a lot of you guys are working and are kind of adjusting to this new normal. If you're working, if you're working from home, if you've started going back to your offices, o kaya naman if you've started the business, that as we mentioned on the podcast, kung sa ibang bansa merong stay safe, stay home, meron dito sa Pilipinas, how much sis DM is the key for the pandesal, the baked maki, and all the other things. Business-minded the mga Pinoy.
You know what? Okay, before we get any further here, you know what I realized recently? What? I realized that I don't have a lot of friends because wala akong masyadong ayuda. You know, wala pa nagpapadala sa akin ng sushi bake. Wala pa nagpapadala sa akin ng ube cheese pandesal. The last person that has sent me ayuda was Joyce Spring, who sent me wine because she knows me so well. Thank you so much for
water. That's his water. So you know, if you guys are you know adjusting to this new normal, our topic for tonight really is entrepreneurial mindset.
Yes.
And I've seen our guest rather, really do his speaking engagements. I've seen him. He's so passionate about entrepreneurship and the many other passions that he's pursued. And it's funny because you know we always talk about this on the podcast. Yung multi-hyphenate, diba? You're not just going to pursue one thing in your life, but if you have multiple passions, then you could go on ahead and do that if you really go for it and give your everything. And so if you're tuned in right now, I just want to say thank you to sila Nico, sila DK, Vanella, Katrine, Liz, Ray, Lucky Joy, who are sending in their questions already for our guests.
Thank you.
Keep those coming as we'll be introducing him right now.
All right. So joining us on the show is... because in the past episodes, we've had multiple people come in and be our guests, but we realized that with everything that this man has done and how many different jobs he's taken, he is more than enough to fulfill our guesting needs. This man has been a host. He is, a matter of fact, a multi-time awarded host. He is a 3-time Best Male Host awardee by the Aliw Awards. He has been an editor, he has been a TV host, he has been an event host, and now he is the president of his family's real estate company and the honorary vice consul of Monaco to the Philippines. Of course, he's the first Asian to deliver the graduation speech at MIT. What? My goodness, where he received the Masters of Science in Real Estate Development. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome into SOS, an Adulting with Joy Spring, the one and only RJ Ledesma.
Ayan, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much, sir.
Salamat talaga pagkapang nasa lista nagbabasa ng resume mo mula sa website. Nakikita ko tumitingin si Aaron sa website. Alam ko,
Gumagano. Kailangan sure eh. Kailangan sure.
alam ko kasi hindi pa updated yung resume ko dyan sa website. So alam ko binabasa mo lang dyan sa website eh. So
Ang
thanks
haba
so
naman
much.
kasi nung resume mo, RJ. Kailangan namin basahin. Sa dami mong na-achieve sa life mo, hindi kaya ng memory lang.
Okay lang yan, okay na. I'm just so honored to be on this show kasi finally I get to be, kasi kung ito, Adulting with Joyce, ako naman, nagmi-millennialing ako with Joyce ako dito. So okay di ba? Kasi isa dito nagsabi dito, said over here, si RJ Ledesma, yung sa Royal True Orange, ibig sabihin, Catherine Noel Salcedo, kung alam mo na ako yung naging model ng Royal True Orange, ibig sabihin yan, magka-edad po tayong dalawa. Magka-edad po tayo. Dahil nung una kong nakilala si Joy Spring, wala siyang kamalay-malay kung sino si RJ Ledesma at yung Joey sa Royal True Orange. Kailangan niyang i-research pa yan. So ibig sabihin yan, hindi kami magkapanahon ni Joyce. Joy Spring. Joyce, kung gusto mo may content habang ginagawa ko to, mag-research ka online, ipakita mo yung video ng Royal True Orange para alam na tao ko nung sinasabi natin dito.
Gagawin ko na ngayon pa lang. Ito na.
Hindi ko alam kung ano yung feeling na alam ko yun eh.
Bago yung Transformer robot na Royal, ako yan yung sa Royal True Orange.
Hindi ko alam kung flattering ba sa akin na gets ko na kung saan ka na nagsimula dun sa Royal True Orange. Medyo gets ko yun eh. Kaya hindi ko alam eh.
What really freaks me out about talking on this show is that I call Aaron's dad by his first name. I don't call his dad Tito eh. I don't call his dad Tito. I don't call his dad Tito eh. I call his dad Tony like his dad's name. So ibig sabihin, my goodness, that is the generation gap. Thank God I just look young. I had a good deal with the devil. So thank you so much for keeping me here on the show.
Man, you won that deal because you have been successful on so many different levels. And not just on the fact that you can call many different generations by their first name. RJ, talk to us about that. Like, what was with everything that you've achieved? Let's start it out and make it simple. What was your dream when you were growing up?
Oh, good. Let me step back. But actually, the first thing that I really want to talk about is so it puts everything into context. Really, is
okay.
What Joyce? If you guys have questions about entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurial mindset, I'd really love to talk to you about that one. Please feel free to put the questions over here. And interestingly enough, sorry, because you know what, guys, I'm also a host, so it's very difficult sometimes when I go on a show and I host or I do speaking. So I kind of wear two hats while I do this type of thing. But I guess the first question over here, kay Says the Lord, anong magandang pag-investahan nowadays? And I know that I sat down a long time with Joyce in one of the conferences which we had, and I talked about what are the good investments nowadays. And one of the things which you can really invest in, it's not so much in terms of money, but really it's in terms of it's in terms of a mindset. And I really call it's an investment. That's why the topic here is entrepreneurial mindset. What I would really like people to invest in is how to think like an entrepreneur. Now, I've had a chance, both of you, Aaron and Joyce, because my type of hosting is that I speak to entrepreneurs. I know that Joyce has done Go Negosyo hosting, but I do mentoring for Go Negosyo. I've actually learned a lot. I've spoken to people like Dennis Uy of Udena, to people like Injap C of Double Dragon, and Jomag, Jose Magsaysay Jr. of Potato Corner, who's actually my business partner in Mercato. And there's often a common denominator which you see. Thanks so much, Princess. Tito RJ talaga. Tito RJ. Maraming salamat. So anyway, yeah. So,
Hi daw, Tito.
So ang ibig sabihin lang yan is the one thing I've noticed about these people who are very, very good entrepreneurs is that it's a way that they look at life. And I call that oftentimes an entrepreneurial mindset, meaning when they look at things, they don't see the world the same way that we look at the world. They look at the world constantly with sort of like new opportunities, new values, new businesses. I mean, that's how they're always looking at the world. If you go, Joyce, if you stay long enough with the Go Negosyo mentors and you sit down with them, yung papag-usapan niyo dyan is negosyo, bagong negosyo. Anong pwedeng negosyo papasukan dyan? You know why? Let's put it this way. let's say, Joyce, you went to Thailand. You said to the factory of what factory did you go to again? To the
I went to China in Colgate for Colgate.
Colgate. Okay. Let's say you went to a Colgate factory and you weren't wearing your glasses, right? Or you went to China per se and you forgot your glasses at home. You cannot appreciate things with clarity, not the sites, not the factories, because you can see things clearly. All of a sudden, you wear your pair of glasses, and now things come to you with a sharpness and with a clarity, so you see everything very nicely. It's the same thing also for entrepreneurs. If a crisis like this began, and there was a big, like right now, there's a crisis, and they were looking at it with their regular eyes, they will be stressed. They will be anxious. They're full of angst because they don't know what to do. What do entrepreneurs do? All of a sudden, they wear this entrepreneurial lens, and they're not looking at these things as points to be stressed about. They're always saying, what's the opportunity there? What can I do over here? What's new over here? And it's always that exercise of wearing that entrepreneurial lens wherever you go. That's really, really key for many of us to become entrepreneurs. That's the first thing, no? I always tell people that you must look at the world always with an opportunity.
Yeah.
When this crisis happened, I don't know about you guys, I freaked out. I think that's the first reaction of anybody. The first day of the lockdown was very scary. I felt very helpless. And at that time I was helpless. I wasn't wearing my entrepreneurial lens. But all of a sudden, when you start wearing it, you start seeing the world in a different way. You don't see any more things like social distancing. You don't start seeing things like lockdown as things which are barriers to doing business, but rather pain points on your journey towards doing business. So that's the first thing that I really want to put out. And the thing is, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run several businesses. Now, first of all, I run Mercato Central. Anybody know Mercato Central? Please raise your hand.
I love it. Yes.
If you know Mercato, please raise your hands over there. It's the new comment box. Thank you so much if you went there pre-COVID because you helped pay for my salary and for my. Now, aside from that one, I also run a business. It's called EnterPH. It's a consultancy firm that helps foreign businesses set up shop here in the Philippines. So there are many businesses that want to set up shop over here, but they have a hard time. And then the third one is a business called called Easy Franchise. It's a digital platform that connects franchise owners. Let's say you own Potato Corner or Tokyo Tempura or a water refilling franchise or a convenience store. Those are franchisors. I connect them online digitally with franchisees. So I'm what you call a serial entrepreneur. I'm always somebody looking for opportunities. But people ask me, what is your entrepreneurial philosophy? How do you look for these type of things? How do you create them? The first thing you need to realize is that thinking like an entrepreneur is like a muscle. It's like muscle memory. You've got to keep on doing it because sometimes you won't get it the first time around. So that your mind becomes used to. Can you guys leave me the screen where I can see both Aaron and Joyce, because I need to see the reactions as I do this one. Pasensya na lang guys, but that's really this is the most we get closest to having an audience right now. And for people like us, that's golden. That's
you kind of miss that, yeah.
Yeah, you miss having an audience, guys. Thanks so much for listening. So the next one that you get to see over there is that being an entrepreneur is that it's something that you need to exercise very, very regularly, and you need to accept at the very, very start that you are going to fail. You will fail at it. But the thing is, you have to realize that failure is an investment in the learning that you make as an entrepreneur. So
we just did that podcast episode, guys. Listen to it.
If you do startups, it's what you call doing your beta test, right? That's why when you do apps, but they call it beta testing. What's beta testing? What beta testing just means is that you're testing the app, then you iterate based on whether it works or not, because sometimes you won't get it right the first time around. I remember before that I am the ambassador for Globe My Business, and when I was the ambassador for Globe My Business, there were some ads out, and then somebody posted on the Globe My Business page saying, "Why did you get RJ Ledesma to be your model for that one when he tried to open up a Mercato Central in CDO in Cagayan de Oro and it closed down?" So the first thing I realized is this one, that especially here in the Philippines, there's a sort of crab mentality. They want you to think that if you failed, dapat personalan mo yan, diba? You have to really feel bad about feeling about things. But you see, as an entrepreneur, you become a bit more thick-skinned. Your failure, there's failure in life and there's failure in business. You fail in business doesn't mean you fail in life. And even when you fail in life, it doesn't mean that's a permanent failure. It's all just a journey. And you just accept, okay, na-fail ka dito. You go, you can cry a bit, you fail fast, you fail forward, and you move again. But the more important thing is that you learn from these failures. I've closed down 15 markets already. Mercato's 10 years old this year. I've closed down 15 markets. I've kept 1 to 2 alive. But from what I learned from what I closed, that made my current businesses even stronger. My business partner, Joe Magsaysay, Joe Mag of Potato Corner, really great story. When they started to run Potato Corner, they went up to about 2,000 or 120 branches in about after the Asian economic crisis, up to the Asian economic crisis in 1998. Joyce was probably wearing her diapers at that time, but me, I was working already at the time. But anyway, 1998, his stores went from 120 down to 40 branches during that time. Can you imagine that? That's my closest equivalent to the failure that you might be experiencing right now. That they went down to that amount and went up to 40. But from 40, he rebuilt the business until they had 2,000 plus franchises around the country, still growing. They've got now in Hong Kong, Thailand, Vietnam, the US, Canada. In any major country, you will find the Potato Corner. But the thing is, he had to fail to realize that one. Because there are lessons there. You know what? That sort of resilience that you're gaining right now from this crisis. My God, if you can survive this crisis, you get resilient, whether or not your business survives, but you understand how much more resilient you get as an entrepreneur and you move forward from that one. That's a lot. That's a lot to learn from. That's a great investment in learning that you're making right now. During this crisis, all the Potato Corners had to shut down, right? Because it's ECQ, you couldn't go there. So what did John Mag say? Did he just sit down and say, okay, that's what we can do? No. He turned into a Potato Corner into what they call the Potato Corner Army. He created literally an army of resellers to resell the brand, because you've got to create constant awareness and equity for the brand because people are looking for it. And that sort of resilience which you develop can only come from you doing the business again and again and saying, you know, it's okay to be scared. There's so much to learn when it comes to doing when you fail. And that's one of the big things, you know. And the thing about Jomag, if you think about it, this guy built himself up. He was somebody who just used to be to be the cashier and mop the floors in Wendy's. He was a working student from LaSalle, but his dad passed away before he could go to college. So he had to work his way up, and he learned all these things. So from the school of hard knocks, that's where he starts moving up and moving up and moving up. So again, the interesting thing about entrepreneurs, when you look at the crisis, so number one, diba? For them, it's an entrepreneurial mindset. Number two, failure is an investment. And number three, they relish the challenge. The opportunity is often found in the challenge. You think at these times like this one, they feel down. The nice thing about hanging around with entrepreneurs, this is the time when all the ideas are literally flowing from them. They're going to tell you, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. I'm very lucky. My wife took a master's of entrepreneurship during a couple of years ago for our business. And our board of advisors, I have over there, Professor Jay Bernard of the Ateneo School of Entrepreneurship, also there of Startup Village, Professor Andy Ferreria as well, who is also a professor. He's the head of the Ateneo Entrepreneurship Program. And of course, Jomag of Potato Corner. They're my board of advisors. My mind's blown away every time, because every time we talk, it's just an iteration of new ideas. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And you realize that during these times, sometimes the best business models emerge out of this crisis. Tell you what, in the Philippines, do you know when our call center market grew the fastest? What years? It grew the fastest from 2008 to 2010. Why? During that time was the US economic crisis. Many businesses had to close down at that time in the US or had to do cost savings. So what did they say in the States? They said in the States that because you have to do cost savings, we've got to find another country where they can do the same type of work at a fraction of a cost that they could do them in the States, but the same quality. They had to outsource non-essential business services, maybe like accounting, like answering the phone. Guess which country they went to?
Here.
Philippines. So we grew the fastest from 2008 to 2010. So you have to realize that sometimes in crisis, there's an opportunity which emerges. And sometimes these opportunities which emerge from the crisis can be long-term business models. Because some people, if you think about it, but they do what they call opportunistic business models. I don't put any value judgment to what I call opportunistic business models. Meaning, sa panahon na ganito, magbebenta ng face back, kikita sa arbitrage, ibig sabihin kikita sa diferensya ng presyo. But it's also a very risky business for people who don't do it properly. People get arrested because they're not doing it properly. But then the thing is, there are other businesses which are emerging right now which are longer term. Meaning these are businesses which will sustain not just during this crisis, but after this crisis at the same time. I love what Josel Sarabia said, failure is an opportunity to begin this time more intelligently. Remember what Steve Jobs said, you always have to have that beginner's mindset. The scarier part about this, that's why it's nice to talk to startup companies now, because startup companies always have this beginner's mindset. This has been the great equalizer, guys. You saw the article of Andrew Masigan recently in the Philippine Star or Business World about this period of time. Everybody lost money. Big company, small company, you might all have had loans. You might have bought several hotels or started a new company. Then, oh shit, ang dami mong utang ngayon, di ba? You've had to pivot the businesses. But the thing is, we're all in the same boat. So what do you do when you're on the same boat? Do you still think like somebody who's corporate and just put up this you lament the fact that, it took me 20 years to build this business? Or do you just say, okay, I did it before, I can do it again, right? That's the sort of like what I call the beginner's mentality, which they need to have to resume again starting the business, because this is like relish the opportunity. We're all again in the same boat. Baka may nagkamali ka dyan sa start, diba? I just realized right now, the blessing in disguise, I was starting off some businesses. This time was actually giving me time to step back and say, hey, this business model which I started off might not have been the best one I could have thought of. So like I said, coming out of this crisis, there are opportunistic businesses, and there are also businesses which can be long-term. What I think will grow very strongly are people who can do really good third-party delivery apps online. They can develop a better way of online experiences. There are many services which I think, what's going to push us into digital transformation and going online, increase e-commerce business is really right now. Because everybody was forced. Did you know, for years, the industry was trying to force us to go online. But then this incident pushed us even further. There was a joke going around online a couple of weeks ago about saying, what is making your company transition towards digital transformation? Is it A, your CEO, B, your Chief Innovation Officer, or C, COVID-19? Obviously, COVID-19 is pushing us all there.
Yeah.
If you are the ones who can see what opportunity is emerging right now that can be for the future, that is not just going to exist right now, but longer term, much better. So I'm asking everybody listening here right now, take your step back also as well. Diba? A lot of opportunities are emerging from this crisis. But what do you think you can sustain for a longer period? Because if it's something that just takes advantage of the ECQ, just wants to take advantage of the GCQ, right? It might not work. But what do you think you can do much, much longer than that one? That's what I call a sustainable business model. And whenever I say business model, that word just basically means paano kumikita yung negosyo mo. Whenever people use that word, it's just a fancy word of saying, when people ask you what's your business model, it just means that how does your business make money, right?
Yeah.
Aside from this one, like for this one, Julius Anthony Rodan, people are starting selling their goods online. That's great. But now, what's your next step forward after selling your goods online? What's going to make it sustainable? What's going to make your goods different? Because like right now, let me give you an example. Food parks, diba? Mercato, when we first came out with Mercato as a food market, the first thing that we thought about Mercato is that it's a great night food market, right? And everybody after that started saying, I kind of like what Mercato is doing. Let me copy it in my own place. So food parks exploded, right?
Yeah.
There were so many of them at that time. But what happened after many of them exploded? 2018, there was a peak. 2019, everything dropped. They all disappeared, right? Because basically, what was their strong business model behind? Everybody was just copying. There was nothing original about it. So I had to look at Mercato and say, what was my business about? And I said, what my business is about, it's not about food markets. My business is about incubating new food vendors to become successful. I am not a food market. I am a food business incubator. Diba? So that's my job up to now. We just pivoted the business and made sure. That's why we're still strong up to now. We continue to do something that's strong. It's the same, and I'm using that analogy because if you look online right now, it's the same thing. People are coming up with so many hyper-local communities, meaning sa Viber, ang dami-daming grupo dyan ngayon, di ba? That the people are choosing from, or people putting up all these sites where they're selling things, di ba? But for me, it's like food parks again. It's like a food parks. I mean, during the time there is a peak, but eventually things will start to weed themselves out. You start not going to specific sites anymore, and it's going to go to people that they have a certain what we call USP in business, unique selling proposition, or there's something really about that site that makes you want to keep on going back there because it delivers a specific value to them. You guys get that so far?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Interesting, Joyce, Aaron?
Yeah, very
Okay.
interesting.
Okay, so this is the next thing that I want to teach. So we're getting through that one. Now, let's talk about, let's get really talking about my philosophy towards entrepreneurship. Now, I've had a chance to travel around the country with Go Negosyo, of course, prior to COVID. Bicol, Bataan, Batangas, Baguio, name it, we've been there. And I've talked to many small business entrepreneurs. And oftentimes, the questions which they ask me this question. They ask me, sir, anong magandang negosyong itayo? Or what is a nice business to put up? Diba? They ask me that one. And when they ask me that one, I often tell them, you have to step back and think again, because that's not how an entrepreneur, well, that for me, that's not how an entrepreneur should be thinking about it. Kasi if you ask me the question now, what's a good business to put up? It presupposes the fact na parang, sir, anong magandang negosyong gayahin? Yan yung parang yan yung term na yan, di ba? It's like before, we had pearl tea milkshakes, we had lechon manok.
Yes.
Right now, we had milk tea, di ba? Kung sa isipin mo, uy, maganda yung negosyo ng milk tea, sige, gagayahin ko yung negosyong yan. Pag ginaya mo, di ba? Kung madaling gayahin mo, madali ka rin gayahin, di ba? That's the basic thing, di ba? If you can copy another business can just as easily copy you. Your success will just as easily disappear. Now, you got to step back right now and say, what is the best question to ask yourself if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to think about entrepreneurial ideas? It's this question. And it's the same question. I do a show called Bright Ideas on Bloomberg. So if any of you have seen that show, you'll understand, you'll pick this up very much. This is the same question I ask at the start of the show, but more than that. It's the same questions that venture capitalists or investors ask tech startup companies whenever they invest in them, especially on these big pitching competitions. And the question which they ask themselves is this one. What problem are you trying to solve? Again, if there's anything you take away from me, it's that one. What problem are you trying to solve? Because problems are also what we call pain points. Entrepreneurs don't see problems. What they see are pain points that they have the opportunity to solve. So sometimes people, they're leaving and say, gusto kong umalis sa Pilipinas dahil puno problema dito. Bakit may ibang mga dayuhan na gustong pumunta sa Pilipinas? Kasi those are the entrepreneurs thinking, uy, maraming problema sa Pilipinas na pwede kong isolve.
Yes.
There's one business that was put up over here called Pawn Hero. This is the interesting thing about Pawn Hero. Pawn Hero was not put up by a Filipino. Pawn Hero is a virtual online pawn shop. It was a business that was put up by a German expatriate who came here to the Philippines a few years ago and just was walking around. He said, sa Pilipinas, sa bawat kanto, may sanglahan, may pawn shop, but it's low appraisal rates, but high interest costs. So he said, what if I can flip the model and put that online? So he came there to solve a problem because it's been existing for a long time. Yung problema natin mga Pinoy, we are so, namamanhit tayo sa mga problema. You know, there's so many problems we can solve that can be a business opportunity. Financial inclusion, remittance, insurance, security, agriculture. So many opportunities out there. It's just that the mentality that often we have is that, oh, this is a big problem. You know, I want to leave. The other way is to think about, oh, it's a problem. How can I solve it? Because if pain points are things that you can solve, I just call it irritations, diba? Irritation is your key towards inspiration, diba? If you, Aaron, are irritated by something, if you, Joyce, are irritated by something, and I'm also irritated by it, but I can solve that irritation. If I can solve the irritation, dyan ako kikita ng pera. Diba? So that's how you look at it. Pain points are just opportunities for you to solve a problem. And that's how I want people to start thinking about how I want people to start thinking about what the pain points right now, especially during this crisis. That's all I've had. I don't know about you, but my head's been spinning throughout this crisis. And I've been hosting for Go Negosyo Online, Easy Franchise. We've got a Facebook Live page. I've been doing for Bounce Back because it gives me a chance to talk to so many people. And people are going, why are you wasting so much of your energy? Why don't you spend the whole day watching Netflix and catch up on Breaking Bad or something, or Better Call Saul, diba? It's because the more people I listen to, the more people I talk to, the more problems I'm able to unearth. But more than that one, the more solutions I'm able to come up with, because you get the bigger picture. And the more that you see these pictures and put them together, then you realize, these are things that I can solve. Right? These are things I can put together. Like for you, Joyce and Aaron, your unique opportunity is that you guys are doing this show and you get to talk to so many people. So you get to see also what I call the asymmetries. What you see is lacking here but there's so much over here, because you can put all these together. That's what I do, but from a business perspective. You get to see where is it lacking and what can I do to fill that one. So that's basically you want to solve pain points, and that's how you start off with business, right? You solve a pain point, and usually when you solve a pain point, mas sustainable yung mga negosyo ganyan because you're solving something that's deep, diba? You might solve, you put up a milk tea place. I mean, that's great, diba? But it can easily copy. But what problem do you really want to solve? If you look further, what could be the problem? Maybe there's something in the packaging that you can solve. Diba? Maybe there's something in the ingredients that you can solve. Maybe there's a way that it's distributed that it can solve, right? I'd rather be the person distributing to the milk tea suppliers than the person running a milk tea store, diba? Because that's an irritation that you might want to solve, diba? For example, what is one of our biggest irritations prior to this crisis? One of the biggest irritations for all of us is traffic, right? Traffic is a big irritation for us. So how do people solve the traffic problem? One was through directional apps like Waze or Google, right? Other one was through ride-sharing apps, which were Grab and Angkas. And people ask me, RJ, how did you solve the traffic problem? I said, well, I created a night food market. Then people ask, how does putting up a night food market solve the problem? Then I asked them, well, think about it. I'm located in the center of BGC, and what time is it the most traffic for people to get out of BGC? I go 5 to 7. When do I get the most number of people eating in my market? 5 to 7. Because I'm trying to solve people's irritation when it comes to having to combat traffic, right? So you've got to think about these things. And sometimes the thinking doesn't have to be direct. Like, you don't have to solve the traffic problem directly. You can solve it laterally. You can solve it by other ways. Mine, I solved it by feeding people. So there are many different ways for us to be able to solve things. So that's the first thing I want people's minds to think of, that it's an irritation can lead to your inspiration when it comes to doing business. So, and the more interesting thing that comes from that one is this one. When we talk about irritation leading to inspiration, what I want to share with you guys is what I call irritation, inspiration, then finally innovation. Because just because you think of, okay, I need to solve this problem, the next question you need to ask yourself is, how do I solve it in an innovative fashion? What makes it different the way that I will solve it? So sometimes you go, okay, or you try to ask yourself, what's the problem am I trying to solve, and what's the best way for me to solve it? Let me just give you what I call sources of business innovation. Are you guys okay with this one?
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead. I'm still with you.
Okay, this is the first one I want to share with you guys. Remember kanina when I was talking about information, especially you guys, Joyce and Aaron, this is where you guys can really leverage it. I call it one source of information, one source of inspiration for you for doing business is called asymmetric information. Asymmetric information. What's asymmetric? Meaning, asymmetric means, symmetry means this one, diba? Pantay. Asymmetric means one is longer or shorter than the other. Okay, when you get a stockbroker, basically you're hiring him because you think that he has more information about the stock market than you do. So you pay him for that information, right, to invest for you. that business model exists in many different industries. If you know more than another person, then people will pay you to get that information for their benefit, right? For example, let's look at the food business before. In the food business before, let's say you wanted to find out the best place to eat in many years ago. Where would you go? You'd ask your friends, saan masarap kumain dito sa Mega Mall, sa Glorieta. You'd ask them one by one. But all of a sudden, some guy said, hey, why don't I get all these crowdsourced reviews of restaurants and then put them online? So instead of having to talk to different people, all I have to do is just go online to find out who are the best people to talk, who are the best people to find. Kasi nandiyan na yung opinions ng mga tao, di ba? So I can just go there. It saves me time, right? Then all of a sudden you go, and what if I can also ask these restaurants to pay me to advertise on this site because I'm getting so much eyeballs on this site? Pwede. So, asymmetric information, you know, this site knows a lot more about restaurant reviews than you do. What's that site? Zomato, right? And restaurants pay Zomato for that information, right? To be at least on that site. So, wow, that's asymmetric information. So guys, if you're listening to me right now, take a step back. Think about it. What information do you think you know that you think other people will want to get from you and pay you to have? What is the best thing that you learn from startup people? You build the infrastructure, you build the information highway, then you build the toll gate. Diba? You should own the toll gate. So every time they get information from you, magbabayad sila. So that's one source na. And that's using right now digital technology to appreciate it. I'd like to welcome on board right now Jason De La Rosa, founder of Bounce Back. Thank you so much for listening to us here right now. Much appreciated. Parang ako naging host ng show na to. Pasensya na lang. And Aaron, no? And here's another one naman. You can also, what I call, borrow business models from other industries. And Joyce and Aaron, I really applaud what you guys have been doing here when I say borrowing business models from other industries, because that's exactly what Vidanes is doing right now with their celebrities, especially during this crisis. You're borrowing business models from other industries and bringing it into the online industry of how they're continuing to monetize the talents. That's just how I see it, because I get the emails from Vidanes. So what does this mean? Let me step back. Okay, for example, do you guys have the app Eatigo? You have the Eatigo app? Okay.
I love Eatigo.
Work? You like Eatigo? Eatigo, you go to a restaurant, once you reserve, you can get up to 50% off on your food and drinks. Now, contrast that to, di ba noon, people would buy coupons to get discount. Di ba nakakatawa? Isipin mo ngayon, magbabayad ka para maka-discount ka. Di ba? Now, for me, it sounds ludicrous, di ba? Why would you do that when you've got an app like Eatigo that all you have to do is just show the app and it gives you a discount? You don't even have to pay any money out to get that discount, right? So I was wondering, how did that happen? So nakausap ko yung the guy who put up the app. He was based in Singapore, but I think he's German, and he was an economist, if I'm not mistaken. And when I was talking to him, he was telling me like, sabi ko, how do you think of this app? And he said, oh, RJ, I wasn't looking at the restaurant industry when I put up that app. Rather, I was looking at I was looking instead at the airline industry and the hotel industry. I think Joyce heard this when I was talking the last time, no? But then, sa airline industry, kasi diba, pag lumilipad yung aeroplano at may vacant seats dyan, di parang there's an opportunity loss for their airline to fly without people there, right? Or in a hotel, if there's a vacant room at night, right, then it's also an opportunity cost for them. So instead of having that vacant room or that vacant seat, the airline industry, the airlines or the hotel choose to sell it to a discount site, and then hati na lang sila sa bayad, di ba? At least it's full. Let's contrast it to restaurants. Hindi ba sa restaurant, kunyari, it's 2 p.m., 3 p.m. in the afternoon, walang taong kumakain dyan. Di parang opportunity cost din sa mga restaurant yung mga yan if the seats are not filled. So instead of leaving the seats not filled, why don't we just sell it to a discount site to sell those empty times and hati kayo sa bayad? And that's Eatigo. So they borrow business models from other industries and bring it into their own. So mag-isip-isip na kayo. Kung nakikinig kayo dito ngayon, let's say for example, if you were fired from a job here tonight, or you left your job, don't worry. Any information that you got in the past, magagamit rin ninyo ngayon. Like, okay, Hazel Joy Meneses, I recently spoke to women in travel Manila, right? And you can't reopen travel here right now. There are many ways to rethink your business. Number one is, think of it this way. In the travel business, you can say, for a future experience, like let's take the same example of Itigo. You can sell coupons right now. You can sell coupons right now for discount for future trips, maybe 1 to 2 years down the road. But at a heavy discount. But it creates cash flow for you right now. You can curate the whole experience here for them right now if they book at this period of time. And the closer that everything starts opening, as the economy opens up more and more and more, then you keep on making the offer less and less and less. The discounts, you make it, in other words, kung noon, 50% discount, 40%, 30%, 20% until the economy is fully open. Diba? The other ones that people are doing right now are what they call virtual tours of specific areas. So it's like you're doing something meaningful and relevant, but you're having people tour in other areas that are nice, that are like in Batanes or other areas. You get to visit them online, virtual tours, and you get to give some money to the people the local tour guides there. But the other thing, and my bigger story about tour agencies, because it's going to take a year. It's difficult to pivot, to change your business. Instead, think of it this way. You've got the structure over there already, right? You've got the structure for a touring agency. So you can retweak the tools for another industry. Diba? It might not, right now for tourism, it might not work. But there are other industries who could use the same business infrastructure that you have. May tao ka naman, may taga-market ka naman, may taga-tao ka naman dyan. Pwede ba sila sa insurance? Pwede ba sila sa real estate? Pwede ba sila sa online selling or sa ibang industriya? Baka pwede kayo mag-pivot sa ganyan eh. That's how I'm thinking of this business right now. Because right now, kumbaga, we can't choose, but we got to pivot our business. We can't stick to one thing lang, di ba? And that's what I was trying to point out to other people here as well. So that's one way I'm looking at doing the travel industry. Now the next one, I call it bricks versus clicks coverage. What do I mean by bricks versus clicks coverage? That nowadays, especially during this crisis, you might want to think that instead of putting up your business kaagad, is that instead of doing a bricks business, meaning physical business, think about going straight to clicks, meaning an online business. What's an example of that one? Like the pawn shop I was talking about, right? For the pawn shop, if you put up a physical pawn shop, may overhead ka na sa tao. May overhead ka pa sa renta. Di ba? May overhead ka na sa mga ganyan. And then, after that one, yung mga magiging kliyente mo lang, yung malalapit sa inyo. And then, sino ang kalaban mo? Yung pinakamalapit na pawn shop sa inyo. If you flip the model and you make it clicks where people go online to you first, right? When they go online to you first, you don't have to worry about overhead rent. You don't have to worry about you don't have to pay for rental and space, but you can go online, and technically your clients are anybody who's also online as well, diba? So it's another way of thinking of business. It's an online, and it works well with my next step, which is called digital first thinking. Many people still think very physically when securing clients, like for real estate, they do flyering to people. They send flyers to people. But guys, especially all the zillennials and millennials listening to me right now, there are businesses purely formed online where you don't even have to have a physical presence to meet your clients. You use digital tools, search engine optimization, you use Google Analytics, you use Facebook boost posting that's filtered, you use Instagram, you use content marketing to get to your clients. For me, that's digital first thinking when you put up a business. Like there's one, I'm working with this guy right now called Filipino Homes. And I like Filipino Homes because it's the largest real estate marketing company in the Philippines. If you haven't heard of it, that's perfectly fine by them. But they're the biggest real estate marketing in Visayas and Mindanao. During this ECQ, believe it or not, they closed more than 3 billion in residential sales from March, April, May. And most of their clients were all OFWs. If anybody wants to join Filipino Homes, let me know. I represent them here in Luzon. So you can drop by my Facebook page. Glad to bring you guys online to do it. But I like it because I understand the business model and because I'm an entrepreneur and I understand innovative thinking. And what they just said was that you can digitize all the processes, so nothing stops. Meaning that when you onboard people, they can watch videos to train, they can watch videos to visit sites, and you can close deals online. But more importantly, they looked for clients online. They didn't rely on connections which they had, that they know somebody personally, but they built a strong online presence where they utilized all the tools that they had for digital technology to get to them. Same like my business Enter PH. It was a business where I had to get foreign clients to invest here in the Philippines to bring their small BPOs or businesses to the Philippines. I never met any of those clients myself. We used digital first thinking to get to those clients. We used content marketing, targeted marketing, all these things to bring people to you. So you guys can do that as well. The thing is, you just have to be very strategic in being able to secure this information. It's a trial and error thing to learn how to use those technologies. I mean, you've got your YouTube out there, you've got all these different things. So think about, guys, right now, what business do you have that you think you're very savvy when it comes to using not just the internet. So tama na yung di ba? Wag na puro social sa TikTok, sa Facebook. You can monetize these things. If you know how, you can properly monetize these things. So again, so sa Filipino homes, kung may gusto dyan, let me know. I'll help you out there. And I'm not just talking about social media per se, but it's how to use social media and how to use it strategically, knowing how it generates, how it can generate income for you. But again, you're solving a problem. So identify muna a good problem, di ba? Solve a good problem, and then if you want, you use digital first thinking to see how you can solve that problem properly. You get what I mean? Mm-hmm. So don't just market per se. If there's nothing unique that you're doing online and you're selling it, eventually you're going to lose out, di ba? Just like all these hyper-local sites selling online right now, eventually it might disappear. But if you've got a strong business model, a strong system in place, then it stays. Next one. Is what I call market driving versus market switching. Oh, by the way, Josel, Filipinos in the networking, I'd be glad to talk to you about it. No, it's a very good model.
Right now, we have RJ Ledesma on the show talking about entrepreneurial mindset, not networking. He's been mentioning a lot of great points on changing your mindset about being an entrepreneur, looking at the world with entrepreneurial sets of eyes. And hopefully you guys are listening. We're personally learning a lot. Kaya hindi ka na namin And to everyone who is commenting, you can send in your questions already. We're answering them along the way. We've got RJ Ledesma here, not networking, but also an amazing entrepreneur.
Yeah. So just explain these different things. And oftentimes, you as an entrepreneur, you kind of pick and choose where you want to go. I mean, choose your battles. You either work with people, you either work with, you put up your own, or you work with people whom you have a good rapport with, or think the same entrepreneur, who think as entrepreneurially as with you. Just to share, I got 3 business partners. I'm very, very proud of them because I learned so much from them. One of them is, of course, Jose Magsaysay, Jomag, multi-awarded serial entrepreneur, master of micromanagement. He's built Potato Corner. He's looking for businesses that have hyper growth potential, that can grow very fast and big. And every time you talk to him, the mind becomes bigger and bigger. Boss Tony, Atayde, Animo, thank you so much for listening to you over there. Okay. Now, the next one is, I also work with David Almirol of Multisys. Multisys is the tech company of the year at the Asia CEO Awards. They're the ones who developed the StaySafe.ph app. And we're developing an app which is also addressing a need, a B2B2C app for to develop the food ecosystem here in the country, addressing a pain point again. And then the last one I'm also working with is Filipino Homes, which is Boss Anthony Luterio. They're a multi-awarded company for real estate. The way that they built but the thing is, you have to realize it's the way that they think. It's the way that they think about business, which is different. That's one thing I want to point out to you. It's the way that you think about doing business, which is key of how you want to make it grow. But the thing is, to think that way doesn't come at the start. It comes with practice. Like for me, I never thought about these ideas at the very, very start. But it's a matter of keep on practicing, thinking like an entrepreneur. Then it comes to you. That's the thing lang. So getting out to market driving versus a market switching strategy. Okay, let's think of the world as being 2 companies, Company A and Company B. Company A holds 50% market share. Company B holds 50% market share. Joyce, Aaron, tell me, where should I get, if I was Company A, where will I get more market share? How do I get more market share? By getting from?
I wish I knew.
From Company B, right? Because if 50%, 50%, you want to grab the market share from here.
Yes.
But the thing is, that's if you think that, like in economics, that the pie is only this big, hindi na lumalaki yung pie ninyo. That's called market switching. You want to get people from your other competitors to join you.
Yes.
What if I thought that way for Mercato Central? What if I thought the only way for me to grow my market was to get people who were working in other food bazaars or other food markets and then come over to me? It might be difficult to get them to switch because there's a high level of friction costs.
Yeah.
But what if I created my own vendors? What if I educated vendors? What if I made people who were home-based vendors, I trained them to become professional vendors? That's what I did. That's called a market driving strategy. You grow the market. You don't think that the market is limited. You create new clients for yourself. So I made a Mercato Academy. So for all those people here listening right now, I have a Mercato Academy. We train people on how to become food entrepreneurs. And also, if you want to, we can carry your products online. I have this website. I have a site here right now. So I do online delivery. If you are a small food vendor and you're trying to expand your reach,
Maybe you can send it in the comment section, RJ. Para everyone
I can't seem to comment in the comment section. I'm here in the private chat group. But anyway,
I'll send it now.
yeah, over there. So basically, what does it do, diba? You have a USP, a unique selling proposition. For my market, for Mercato Central, it's a market driving strategy. Like I said, I create more vendors. I help small food entrepreneurs grow. What's my difference between I have an online site for food delivery? What's my difference between a Food Panda and a Grab? Food Panda and Grab only take care of restaurants. The people on my site are small home-based food entrepreneurs whom you can't find over there, whom we help become vendors. See, that way you're growing the market instead of getting people to switch over to you from another side. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about market driving versus market switching strategy. All clear naman at this point? I'm just going to stop here for a bit and ask, are there any more questions? Or Joyce, you guys have any questions? In fact, even here from the live comments, any questions you wanna take up, Joyce?
So many questions that are being sent in the comment section. Of course, there are a lot of OFWs who are tuned in right now asking kung ano daw yung businesses na pwede nilang i-start while they're OFWs, kung possible daw ba yun dito sa Pilipinas. What say you, RJ?
Okay, for me, there's a couple of things, and I have a bit of a bias right now just because I'm a co-founder of Easy Franchise, easyfranchise.com. Easy Franchise, if you're an OFW, listen to me. So I'll tell you also, this is my own, so that you understand also my own entrepreneurial journey. Easyfranchise.com is a digital platform that connects franchise owners, like I said, like Potato Corner, 7-Eleven, Phoenix LPG, connects that together with franchise investors. Kung gusto niyo magpatayo ng franchise, gusto niyo magkaroon ng Potato Corner, we connect you. Why did I come up with that site in the first place? Because there was a pain point. What was the pain point? If I was a franchisor, diba, how can I get as many clients as possible? If I have to you just go to me in an exhibit, right? That's where you get new clients. If I gusto ko magkaroon ng franchise, saan mo, Aaron, Joyce, saan mo hahanapin yung mga franchise na yan? Pupunta ka sa mga franchise shows, may oras ka papunta sa mga franchise shows. Yeah. Kung ako isang OFW, how will I find out what these franchises are?
Even just speaking, actually.
Yeah, there's no.
It's so hard when you do
it. It's so hard.
Because you're going to talk to them, you have to ask them pa.
It's disaggregated. That's what I'm talking about, asymmetric information, right? Information all over the place. But if it's all in one site, people will pay you to get that information, right? Mm-hmm. And the peak for me was when I went to Dubai to give a talk on entrepreneurship. A water refilling station came with me, and they explained it was a really good water refilling station talk. And when they asked who wants to buy the franchise, almost everybody raised their hands. And then they asked the question, how come, the OFWs asked the question, who can run the pawn shop who can run the water refilling station for me? Wala silang tao. So they said, ba't ako bibili ngayon? It's useless for me because many of them know, especially mga OFWs na nakikinig ngayon, I'm sure you know na ayaw mo ipatakbo sa mga kamag-anak nyo, sa mga kaibigan dahil mawawala yung pera niyo, di ba? So, what I'm saying over here is that was my inspiration for the business. Number one, put all the information together in one site. 1,000. So I put together 1,000 franchises onto my site. So now all the franchises can just go over there, and all the franchisees can just go to one site. They can choose based on return on investment. They can choose based on whatever they want. And that's the site. But number two is this one. Because they can't run it themselves, we have a company that helps professionally manage the franchises for them. So that way we solve their problem. So if you're an OFW, you can visit easyfranchise.com. If you're starting off, why is that? Because we can run we can run the business for you if you want to. But this is the bigger thing. If you're starting off in business and you're not too sure just yet, the nice thing about franchising is that they almost always have a 90% success rate, especially if they are established franchises. Kasi para may playbook na yan di ba?
Yeah.
Like if you're a first-time franchisor, you don't know yet how to run things, at least may sistema na sila. May sales system, may franchise system, may sales, may marketing, may operations. Matututo ka dyan, di ba? You will learn from running a franchise. And then when you're done, if you don't renew the franchise, at least you've got some business acumen na. Di ba? Like I said, it's always an investment. You get some business acumen. So you can keep on running the franchise, make more money there, open up a business that's your own, na galing sa ideas mo, or open up another franchise. So for me, again, franchising is a good idea, depending on what purpose that you want. Again, please visit my other website. It's called easyfranchise.com.
Wait, but I have a question, RJ. Usually, kasi di ba pag OFWs, they would also invest in real estate. And I think one of our questions...
Yeah, I just saw the comment too as well.
Yeah, is real estate always a good investment?
Okay, I'll tell you when real estate is a good investment. Let me explain to you. In the Philippines, we have a housing back. I'll wear my other hat. So I'm a board governor of the Subdivision Housing Developers Association, and like I said, my master's is in real estate development from MIT, and I work with Filipino Homes, right? So I work with Filipino Homes as their partner in Luzon. The Philippines has depending who you talk to, a 5.7 million housing backlog, meaning that there's so many houses people have to occupy over here. Again, for me, if you invest in real estate, this is my personal take, is that you invest in first home real estate in a house that you will live in. That's me. And basically right now, the sweetest spot that they're selling abroad is between 3 to 5 million pesos, or from between 1.5 to about 5 million pesos. Those are the fastest moving homes that Filipino Homes is selling. But I tell you, that's the best spot for me to be in. If you're going to real estate, there's no bubble. The only bubble occurs if you're buying real estate in places where there's nobody occupying it. Like you buy a condo just because you want to rent it out, but there's nobody actually living there. That's your watch out there. That's when a bubble is created, but there's no actual demand for a place. You're buying because you're expecting to rent it out, but there's nobody there. The best things to buy are always first home investments. That's for me. And if you have additional money aside from that one, put it in other interest-bearing instruments. Put up a business, especially now in the Philippines. If you want to help our economy after this crisis, put up a business to run. Get a franchise or put up something that runs to help people, because we are a consumer-driven economy. You've got to put your business in something that is consumer-driven. If it's LPG, like I said, convenience store, those are good places to start putting up businesses. But for me, if you're going to buy real estate, my best recommendation for you for real estate is that buy real estate that you will live in. That's really for me.
RJ, it was a fantastic, incredible amount of information that you were just, throwing out there. And I think a lot of people were really taken by a whole lot of these different ideas that you had. But just to go an hour back, sure. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Oh, that's a really great question. So now here's my story for you. Okay, let's go to story time. Okay,
because you've done everything. So what was it that you wanted to be?
Okay, so I've always been hosting, even as a young boy, right? But my goal really was that I wanted to go to Harvard Business School, even as a young boy. Wow. That's my dream. People become doctors, lawyers, engineers. Gusto ko kasi negosyante ako, my dad's an entrepreneur. That was my goal in life, right? So when I first went to I worked for Procter & Gamble many years ago. That was my first job out of college. I did good. Parang sabi ko kasi may roadmap ako, di ba? Have a lot of extracurricular when you were in college. So nag-debate, nag-public speak, nag-writing out. I was a writer, student council.
Parang hindi ka masyadong comfortable.
Parang mahihain ka.
Yeah, di ba? Medyo mahihain nga ako di ba? And then I was a writer, so I had many different things, di ba? So I got into Procter & Gamble, worked there for about 3 years. And then, kasi yung parang path towards going to a MBA in the States, I want to test for an Ivy League school. And I applied for 3 schools at a time, many years ago. The first one was for Northwestern Kellogg, which is like top marketing school.
Yeah.
Wharton, which is the top finance school. And of course, Harvard, which is sort of like all around. Ganda na brand name, di ba? And what happened was that, after applying, I got my first letter at the time kasi hindi pa uso mag-email. I had to send physical requirements. That's how old I am, but I had to send physical requirements to the school and they would send it back to me. And then the first time, my first reply came from, I think, Kellogg. Sabi daw, Mr. Ledesma, I'm sorry, but you were not accepted for this batch. Medyo masama yung loob ko kasi P&G is known for marketing. Hindi ako nakapasok sa top marketing. So sabi ko, Chef, paano to? 2 more to go. Wharton naman, dumating yung letter ng Wharton. Nung dumating yung letter ng Wharton, binuksan ko yung letter, Mr. Ledesma, we regret to inform you, but you have not been accepted. Nako, that's really bad. And then, by the way, Teng Restauro, you're right. I used to come out in Magandang Umaga Bayan weekends together with Cherry Mercado, Mayor Mon Ilagan. Naku, pag naalala mo yun, ibig sabihin, magkaedad talaga tayo.
Naglalabasan yung mga edad ng tao ngayong gabi,
2001. So it's been a long time ago since I did that show. But anyway, finally, I got the letter from Harvard. And the letter from Harvard said that, Mr. Ledesma, you're one of the 10% that we are considering for this batch. But you can either do a phone interview, syempre, the time, phone interview lang dyan, di ba? Wala pang online. Or you can get interviewed live. Syempre, sabi ko, medyo mabok, I speak a lot. Sabi ko, I'll fly to the States to get that interview. A 5-minute interview, di ba? So I took a break from work, went all the way there to speak. Yan, si Kate Lamset says she knows this story because I was her speaker in FEU. And I like sharing this story, really. Because I think it's really a hallmark of how God really works in mysterious ways. When I went there, I went to Harvard, gave a really good talk, I think. And then came back to Manila. 2 weeks later, I got my letter from Harvard saying, Mr. Ledesma, we regret to inform you, but you haven't been accepted for this batch. So I was really heartbroken at the time because, for many people, you have a dream that you wanted to get, but you never really got there. And felt really bad. And I came back, I said, God, I know that you've got plans for me, and your plans for me are much greater than the plans that I have for myself. But right now, I just can't see it, right? But you just trust that He knows what's best for you. Now, all of a sudden, when I came back, I found out that there was a degree being offered that was specific to real estate, which was my family's business, being offered in MIT and in Columbia. And I applied for both those courses, and I got into Columbia, and I got into the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I mean, my head, that blew me away. That's Goodwill Hunting, right? I mean, MIT, that's where the rocket scientists literally come from.
Wonderful.
Right? So I got in, and finally, I ended up giving the commencement speech. It didn't mean I'm the smartest in the class. It just meant I talked the best in the class.
Yes.
I was engaging over there. And so I was so happy about the time. And when I went to the States, when I went to take the degree, the U.S. economy was at a high. But then the year I went in, the U.S. economy dropped. And then 2 weeks before I graduated, it was 9/11 in 2001.
Wow.
So my parents almost couldn't fly in for my graduation, for my graduation. And so all of a sudden, parang, what happened there? So I couldn't get a job in the States because my original goal was, okay, I'm going to live here. I'm going to finish in an Ivy League, work over there, get myself established, come back, work for multinational. So it didn't happen. But then after that degree, I had to come back to the Philippines. Then I worked initially for my dad's business. And then from there, I produced my own talk show before, TV show with Tim Taya called The Men's Room on Studio 23. I don't know if you guys ever saw that one. Bawal yan eh.
Yeah.
It was a late night show. My mom is not proud of that show. My wife is not proud of that show either as well. So I did that show, and then I started becoming a writer. I wrote for the Philippine Star. I won awards for Philippine Star. I wrote a book. I became an entrepreneur with my own business, and all of a sudden I did so many different things. And I became a professional host, which I never thought I would do. I just thought hosting was a fun thing to do. I never thought it'd become a profession. So if you ask me, what I thought I would be if you ask 20-year-old me, I just turned 46 a few days ago.
No one has to know about that.
But that's okay.
We'll keep that between us. We'll keep that between us.
If you ask my 20-year-old self if what I'm doing now is what I expected at the time, I say it's nothing at all what I expected, and it's even better than what I ever expected at that time. I mean, I'm sorry to wax religious, but God is good all the time, and I just think, but this was not in my plans at all. And I realized, my wife always prays for me every day. She says, RJ, I pray you meet good people to talk to you. So when you do business, you meet good people, you get good ideas. And that's what's so almost parang, it's not fate, but parang him putting together na, okay, I'm going to move you here because you're going to learn something from here and you're going to be able to use it here. And you're going to learn something from here and you're going to use it over here. And that's how things have been growing and growing and growing. Yeah. Sabi ni Angel Orate, familiar siya, nasa movie siya before. Yeah, I was in And I Love You So with Sam Milby, which is my first movie. Sam Milby and Bea Alonzo. And my most recent movie I had one a couple of years ago was My Perfect You, the movie with Pia Wurtzbach together with Gerald Anderson.
Time for these things, RJ.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
How do
if you saw me in that movie, if you saw me in that movie, you'd be so surprised because if I tell you what my role was in that movie, I would spoil the movie. But for people watching right now, where you might have seen me is I taught you math tinik on ABS-CBN Foundation. I was your math teacher. I taught math there from 2009 to 2014.
I watched Math Tinik.
Yeah. Maybe you were too young when I came. You were 2009 to 2014. I was actually the host of Math Tinik. Before, who's the next guy who hosted Math Tinik after me? You ex-ni Gretchen. Ex-ni Gretchen.
I forget.
Robbie Dominguez?
I wasn't even old
Robbie Domingo.
Robbie Domingo.
And the funny thing with Robbie Domingo is that I hosted a show with Robbie Domingo. That's how we go. You're Math Tinik Generation 4, I'm Generation 3.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So very interesting things. Yeah. So I've done so many things in my life. I mean, people don't realize I've learned so much. I was also in Magkaribal. That was me in Magkaribal too. I was in Magkaribal. Yeah.
I think it's really cool. The one thing that we can just to tie it all together from where we started to where we are right now. You guys heard about a good hour's worth of amazing success and learnings that RJ has had over the entire span of his life. But if you really look at it to where it really all began, it began where he didn't quit from the failures that started what could have been the end of his career, eventually became the start of what he is right now. So if you guys are going through any failures, if right now you are looking at this and you are feeling down and you're feeling like you are in a rut or you don't think that you can get out of from where you are right now because of one, the systematic problems that we're having, or two, the COVID situation, or three, other things that are outside of your power. As you can see with RJ, he faced all three of those, and yet he is here right now telling us what he has learned because of it, and he is a better person because of that. So RJ, thank you so much.
I just want to say one thing. I've got more stuff. If you want to do a part 2, that's fine. I know there's a time, but you have to end somewhere. But this is the more important thing. I'm not telling any of you that I'm actually going to survive this crisis. My current business is going to survive this business. Mercato has to evolve as well, right? We went from a night food market to a food incubator. We're online. I'm not saying that that's the best business model, but that's an entrepreneur. You're like a shark who's constantly moving. But the more important thing that I want to put in their head is this one, diba? This story really stuck with me, and it really resonated with me when somebody said, he found this. I saw this on Facebook, a post. This guy just closed down 4 restaurants, but he was furiously writing down new ideas for other business plans. And somebody said to him, "Wow, you mean aren't you feeling down that you just closed down 4 restaurants and here you are planning for something new?" He said, "It's okay to run out of money, but it's not okay to run out of ideas." Perfect. And that's what entrepreneurs are all about. It's that when you develop that entrepreneurial resilience, that sort of mentality. Then you practice it. That's all I've been doing, guys, for this crisis. All I've been doing is in my head. If you hear the word pivot, that just means you're taking a different angle for the business, a new business model. That's all I've been doing, thinking of new ways to run things, innovative ways, lateral ways of thinking. Because you know what? As long as you think hard, as long as for me, you just have to keep going around. Ideas will pop up. God is good. He will not leave you there. But you've got to sisikap ka rin, diba? You've got to find different ways. If you're stuck in that, it's because what you might think, because you're thinking this way, this is the only way out, but you have to keep on seeing more that there's so many ways that you can get out of this situation. And that's really it as an entrepreneur. That's really what I wanted to share with all of you.
RJ,
Fantastic.
you have given us so much to think about. So many people on the comment section already saying that they want to start their own businesses already and to look at it in a more sustainable way because of everything that they've heard here. And I just wanted to again say what your story tells, like what Aaron mentioned earlier. Rejection is redirection. And at the end of the day, kung ano man yung circumstances or situations that you guys are currently in, it's always about resilience. It's always about innovation and grittiness. Saying
Yes, yes.
that, telling yourself that even though the world or life tells you no, you just go, okay, no for this one, but that doesn't mean it's no for everything else. So where do I go next? And then create your own market and do all of these things.
I'll tell you. I'll make a nice cuento. So give me some time. Anyway, this is not a show where we have to end right in time, no. So I'll tell you something on rejection is redirection. I've given talks to insurance companies, right? And insurance companies, they call the $1 million round table person. That means that person with $50 million worth of policies. I'm sure Joyce or Aaron, you guys have hosted for insurance companies in the past. And I've spoken in almost all given similar talks like this and moderated for them at the same time. And that's the most interesting thing. When there's that $1 million round table person, I go, my God, this guy must be brilliant. He's got magic words coming out of his mouth to convince the person to buy from him a $1 million policy. Because that's how much it's worth, diba? It's a 50 million to buy a policy from him to become $1 million round table person. That means that you've sold 50 million pesos worth of policies, and they give you like free stuff. You can travel around the world, diba? Like in Monaco, Switzerland. And I wanted to ask, I was so curious. I went up to one of them and asked him, you must have some magic set of words so that when you talk to people, nobody says no to you anymore at this rate. And this is what he told me. In fact, he goes, RJ, up to now, people still say no to me. But this is one thing I realized, you know what? When I give a proposal to them for insurance and then they say, and they don't like it, I don't feel like it's my loss. I feel that it's his loss because I'm giving him something good for him. Ayaw niya yung binibigay ko sa kanya. Siya yung talo, hindi ako. But I learned something from him. I learned how not to get rejected the next time. Because in his head, he's just building that database of, okay, if somebody says this one, this is what I say. If somebody does this one, that's what I say. And that's basically what it's like. Failure, again, is a mindset. If somebody rejects you the first time around, it doesn't mean that you get rejected. It means that you're also learning as well as to, okay, this is what I do the next time. That's why rejection is redirection.
Parang Thomas Edison lang yan. He had to figure out the wrong ways to make the light bulb for him.
Exactly.
To find out how to make it the right way.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, RJ. The reason why we're trying to cut the show already is not only because we're almost 30 minutes over time, but because we want to have you back on the show.
Sure, anytime.
On the surface, your business, your entrepreneurial mindset. But I wanted to ask just the final question before we wrap up. RJ,
Sure.
ang dami naming natutunan sa'yo, and more than anything, we're inspired and encouraged to really face this situation that we're all in right now with a certain level of resilience that we've heard from your stories, your personal story, and the stories that you've shared of others. But I have one question that I think a lot of people can relate to right now. If you grew up not having entrepreneurial mindset, what should you do for you to move on for the rest of your life, really putting on those goggles and putting on a fresh set of eyes and looking at the world from an entrepreneur's perspective kung hindi ka dun nasanay? What can you do?
Like I said, it's muscle. Like for me, it becomes muscle memory after some time. My dad was an entrepreneur. I learned right and wrong things from him being an entrepreneur. I became an entrepreneur myself. And I have businesses which failed and which did good. But the thing is, this sort of philosophy which I gained came over the time of doing the business again and again and again. And how did I learn? Number one, I had good mentors. You have to surround yourself with good mentors. There are people who didn't start off as being entrepreneurs, but they had mentors. And number two, I mean, guys, you're not lucky for anything. I mean, when we began entrepreneurship, who did we have the chance to talk to? Now you've got YouTube, you've got podcasts, you've got all these people talking about entrepreneurships, you've got all these apps that are more available for you. So for me, you can easily help yourself now to become an entrepreneur. But in the end, it's really that mindset that you put behind it, that you say, sige, let me try it out, diba? Let me try it out. Like, people say, I don't want to do sales, it's beneath me. You learn so much from doing sales. I think it's a great profession that you can do things now. I mean, you don't earn money from writing. I did writing for many years, but that's where I learned. That's where I learned the most from. People go, "Why do you host so often? My wife was wondering, why do you talk so much during the ECQ? Who are you talking to?" Well, guess what? All this talking got me a lot more jobs during the ECQ. People have been hiring me to talk and to moderate discussions. So I mean, everything is, but you gotta really put yourself out there, and it's a lot of hustle. Diba? Entrepreneurship is equivalent to hustle, and that hustling begins with hustling can be you're out there learning, whether education online or education from people. That's what you do. I mean, that's just our life, and the sacrifice that you make over there is that, I mean, I don't have much free time on my hands. I mean, it's really me, my family, work, and then I don't play much games, and then I guess my prayer life. I mean, that's really it right now. I don't have much time for. I mean, I wish I had more time to watch. I mean, some people say, "Oh, I spent this time binge reading during this time," or I finished all these episodes. I mean, I was able to finish Community during this time, and I'm on.
That's a great show. Yeah,
I'm halfway through Breaking Bad, but aside from that one, I'm saying those are just like sort of like the relaxed times. But that's how it's like. That's the life of an entrepreneur. That's how it's like. And if you're hustling all the time, but it's just trying to find the best way to, guys, at this time. I mean, one more piece of advice. Just one more thing. I got this from the chief operating officer of Phoenix LPG. I spoke to him on my show EC Franchise Live, and he told me about business, and it really floored me, because this talks really about resilience. And he said to me, "RJ, I was trying to run my business, Mercato. You're fixing it up so many problems during the ECQ. Sabi niya, you got to try to open up your business during the ECQ. Bakit? Because kung nagsara ka lang ng tindahan bago mag-ECQ at bubuksan mo yung tindahan pagkatapos ng ECQ, iba na yung mundo. Okay? The world is totally different. And if you just started off after ECQ, you're too late. You had to learn to adjust during this time, make your mistakes, condition yourself. Parang runner yan, di ba? You don't show up in the Olympics and expect to do very good there if you didn't practice for it. Same thing for this one. Our practice for whatever the new normal was is this ECQ time. And if your business wasn't able to adjust, I mean, you should have done adjustments in there, make those little changes right now to improve your form, to improve what you do next. And that's really how it's like for me in this period of time. Do your adjustments now.
All right. Well, it's an incredible. It was like a keynote. It was like I was watching a TED Talk. It really felt like. Yeah. Busog na. Mismo. RJ, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything? I mean, there's a lot of things that you were plugging, but is there anywhere that they can go to maybe see a consolidated list of everything that they heard from today, and maybe get links and all of that?
Well, I with your help, Joyce, and your advice, Aaron, I'll be putting up my own. Show soon on entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial mindset for I guess YouTube and podcast and Facebook Live. I think you've gained a lot of information, and I'm not the best person to learn from. There are many great people to learn from, and I plan to bring on the show all the great people I've learned from, all the great insights, and maybe also help businesses grow. I'd like to mentor them online to help their businesses grow. And just a couple of things. My website's up www.rjledesma.com. You can also follow me on RJ Ledesma on Facebook and Instagram. And again, if you've got a small food business that you want to expand, you need delivery services, you've got a unique food that you want to expand, please visit Mercato Central on Facebook. We would love to help you grow your food business.
Fantastic. One last question that we ask every single week. I'm sure you were seeing it in the comment section, and you were probably wondering what is going on. Why are they asking me this? RJ, ano ulam mo tonight?
Ano ulam?
Ano yan? Di ko makita.
Ito. Ate mo na, pabakay mo na ito.
No, baka mamaya mahulog eh. Yan.
Ayan. Okay.
Oh, red rice.
Kain sa gilid.
Kailangan ko tuloy-tuloy meeting ko. I'm very excited. Very soon, you will soon see Mercato coming to Family Mart. So,
wow!
Interesting. Very interesting.
We're going to scale them up and help them become Family Mart. So we're really supporting the growth of small food business entrepreneurs. So again, like I said, that's all about pivot, and that's all about That's all about that's all about, you know, what's your business all about? My business is about incubating small food vendors. So I can incubate them in a food market, in an ecosystem, online, or in a convenience store.
Okay, RJ, before we let you go, we need to take a screenshot because everyone is asking for it para daw ma-post nila. At sabi nila na i-meet nila si Joey.
At least alam mo na kung sino si Joey. Joyce, na-download ba kung si Joey? Na-download ba yung Joey?
Na-download ko. Pagkatapos namin i-end yung show, ipe-play namin para
play mo para makita mga tao kung sino si Joey. Baka hindi ko nila alam.
Let's take a photo. Screenshot time. Smile, everybody. Kunyari nakita mo si Joey ng Royal True Orange. Kunyari marami ka nagawang pera ngayong ECQ.
Awesome. Thank you so much, RJ, for joining us. It's one of the most information-heavy shows we had, but no doubt in my mind that we learned so much from this. Thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck on all your endeavors.
Thanks. I pray for blessings for all of you. God is good. He will take care of us again. If I just need to repeat it, you know what? It's a difficult time. It's been a difficult time, but the blessings are here as well. I got to spend time with my wife, my family. I got to relook my life. So, you know, in every crisis, there is always a blessing that God is giving us. And He's got great plans for us, set aside, better than the plans we have for ourselves, because God is good all the time.
He will never leave nor forsake us. Thank you for that awesome reminder, RJ. And thank you for being so generous with your wisdom tonight. At dahil maraming taong na-excite, dahil nakita na nga sila ng entrepreneur with great ideas, nakakita pa sila ng artista at commercial models. That's it for this episode of SOS Friday Night Live. We'll see you guys again next week. If you love this episode, please do watch out for it in the podcast, as we'll be uploading it in audio version in just a short while. But in the meantime, RJ Ledesma once again, our guest for this evening. My name is Joyce Spring.
My name is Aaron Ataide. This has been Shot of Sanity. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Paalam.
Bye, guys. Ingat.
Joey, ang mantika pa. Mami naman, oh. Sa lahat may utos, mantika pa. Sige na nga. Uy, si Jake. Bakit kasi mantika pa eh? Oh, Joey, ano bibili mo, ha? Ay, Royal True Orange. O, itong bagaw mo. Sige, ha? Bagaw pala, ha? O, ano pa? Aliflor, mantika, ho.
Here I am, where I stand between the universe and you. And all I ask, another chance for love to see me through. But love promises no. Just take it back this time, there's no forever. No, I don't wanna wake up alone anymore. But maybe we could be alone together. We could be alone together. Lost in all you are. I'm sinking slowly and steady right in your heart. But all promises go. Just take it back this time, there's no forever. No, but maybe we could be alone together. We could be alone together. lost to know you are. We're sinking slowly and steady, falling apart.